until Satoshi lit a flame in cyberspace. He started a fire in cyberspace, and that fire was just a little flicker 10, 15 years, 14 years ago, and now it's a decent sized fire, and there's no reason to think it wouldn't burn for thousands of years across the universe, and that is the fire of freedom and truth and justice and virtue, right? And how can that not cause you to reinterpret the human condition and everything that you believe to be true before the advent of Bitcoin?
What did last decade do with Bitcoin? What's the next decade going to do with Bitcoin? Adoption is underway. As you see, year after year, adoption keeps increasing and Bitcoin keeps changing the world. We've been telling you this time and time again. We hope you're listening. Test. And with that, what's happening, Crypto Crew? Sean's coming back at you, another cryptocurrency video. Getting straight into it, take a look at the Bitcoin dominance charts. What are we looking at and what do we see? Let's take a look at the price action here. We'll move the RSI down a little bit, and we see that Bitcoin, once it fell off this cliff here back in 2020, this was a major alt season. We've been trading in this channel. What's been happening? We sort of bottomed out here, double bottom, and then put in higher lows, higher highs, and then blasted up and bounced up past this resistance level. You see this resistance level right here? You can sort of measure this from maybe the top of these wicks to the bottom, but either way you look at it, Bitcoin has broken over this resistance level. Zooming into this price action at the current time it's recording, we're coming in at 49.2%. How high could we go? Well, zooming out on the price chart, the next level where we want to pay attention to is this bottom range here around 53. And if it runs all the way up to this top range, if we just stair step up to this price level where we have this downwards resistance has been in place since really back in 2016. We fell off it here, came down it here, and right here is where Bitcoin could be. Towards the end of 2023 is when Bitcoin could be hitting its head up to about a 55% run. And this is when Bitcoin will fall down. And then we're getting near that apex. So pay attention to this. When we fall down here, this could be an alt rally. But right now, you want to be in Bitcoin. An update from the Gold Prairie. You see impossible, I see predictable, almost as if we know the supply dynamics ahead of time. November of 2025, $600,000 USD, a 24x from here. So as you see right here, what are they looking at? He has this line, this linear regression line where it looks like every single time, every 4 years in November, you see these peaks happen. November of 13, November of 17, November of 21, then November of 25. Where does this linear regression line move through? You see it moves through 600, 6,200, 67,000. Is it going to be a $600,000 Bitcoin by November of 2025? Either way you look at it, either way you cut the cloth, it's going to be a massive move to the upside. Is this possible? If it is, we hope your bags are packed. Another update from Thomas Farrar. We've showed this on our channel before. You see the Dutch come up, they're in power, then they come down when the British Empire rises, then the American Empire rises, and then you see Bitcoin coming. But check out this quote from Thomas Farrar. We are so lucky to be alive during the monetization of Bitcoin. We can buy Bitcoin today, but future generations will be working for it. So keep this in mind. Just put that in perspective. Future generations will earn their salaries in Bitcoin when we have a Bitcoin global standard. Another update from Crypto T. The United States needs to make Bitcoin legal tender, just like El Salvador did. The government's evil plans to call it a commodity so they can tax it, regulate it, manipulate its price. Bitcoin is not a commodity, it's peer-to-peer cash. So how long will it take until the United States government hops on board? United States, in our opinion, will probably be the last country to hop on board when it comes to adopting Bitcoin as legal tender. They own the printing press. They own the money printer. Why would they allow something to overthrow their cheat code? Another update from Crypto Caesar. The bottom's in for Bitcoin. We are in the first leg of the bull market, which is always the most difficult part of the cycle. Why? Because everyone is still convinced of the bear thesis. Every single time people are convinced of a bear thesis in this lull out right here, then we have that blast up. Oh, we're thinking we're putting in a lower low. Nope. Put a fake out, then new highs. Looky here. Everybody's thinking we're seeing new lows, and then what happens? We blast up to the upside. So as time progresses, could we see just more sideways price action, the halving come in, then a run up to the upside? That definitely could be what's in the cards for Bitcoin and crypto. Take a look at the price action to see, what we anticipate. And we see this downwards falling wedge on the daily, and we've just been trading in this, and we've been using this resistance and support levels. But we also have this upwards trend line here that's been acting as support for a little bit of time. We fell through this back here, but wicked back right back up through it. This acted as support once, twice, fell through, came back up. We are now retesting. So are we going to see a bounce up to higher levels? This is a bullish pattern, this downwards falling wedge. This technical target up to the upside is around 31,000. So will Bitcoin make that move to the upside? How long will it take for this to play out? Will the Fed raise rates again, or will the Fed not do anything? Will the Fed just stall out? If so, that'll be bullish for markets. So stay tuned. We have an update from CHAMATH and the All In podcast. And what we've seen is the government crackdown on cryptocurrency. Binance, Coinbase, you've seen the SEC go at them. You've seen the SEC call out quite a few different crypto assets as securities. Well, let's get the take from CHAMATH and the All In podcast. Let's hear what they have to say.
It's a good question. I think there's two ways to look at this. One is the conspiracy theorist way, which you see a lot of on Twitter, which is this idea that crypto is making all of these inroads as a replacement mechanism for fiat currency. And so governments are really now invested in trying to shut it down. I think that's largely untrue. And then there's the more simple, basic reality, which is that there was one part of the SEC that frankly didn't do the job that they were supposed to by either allowing a few of these crypto companies or crypto businesses to go public, either as standalone businesses or as part of other businesses, so Coinbase, Robinhood, etc. And then there's this part of the enforcement action after this FTX fiasco, which is a lot of CYA covering your ass by the SEC, especially because it looked like they had some cozy relationships with them. And so they're coming down hard, and they're going to go and systematically dismantle the largest actors, and they're going to go through the value chain. So I think the obvious place that they're looking now are the exchanges. They'll look at the custodial services. They will not approve any ETFs. And then eventually, I do think it trickles into all of the staking services. And eventually, I think it'll touch the venture community and all of those firms and funds that had a huge, robust business in staking these crypto projects in order to get coins, like founding coins and then being able to sell them.
Bought Bitcoin and wrote about Bitcoin when it was maybe 25 cents. And then again, when it was 100. So I've been following this for a long time. And I think thinking from first principles, just stepping back for a moment, what we do in technology is fundamentally disruptive if it's at its best, if it's truly going to be important in the world. And when you hear that word disruption, you kind of file it as a buzzword, but what it really means at its core is like competition. And it's not just competition disruption. When you say disruption, you're talking about existential competition. Two people go in the ring, one person comes out. Like people keep bringing up, oh, you're an investor in Uber. They broke the rules. They bent the rules. Uber was going against cabs. Airbnb was going against like hotels. WeWork was going against like long-term real estate leases. When you look at all those disruptive technologies and what they did at their core, they disrupted on behalf of consumers and lowered prices, increased choice, et cetera. When you look at crypto, the crypto crowd literally said, we are going to replace fiat currency. Fiat currency is the government.